It's the book of Ecclesiasticus of the book of Sirach, chapter 28. Start, it's lucky. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus or the book of Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 28. And it reads, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of their destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail, and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. Verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. I'm going to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to God, Elohim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakadosh B'Katham. I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teach and do, rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so now more so than ever. Say shalom to the Akim and the Aquath out there listening and learning, Lord, willingly. This is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations. Subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's your brother Yawasap out of GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And it's lucky. This lesson is in regards to through the Spirit. I've been coming across a lot of articles. That's when I like it. Every once in a while, the Lord lead me to try to catch the Spirit to figure out what I should do a video on. But as of lately, I'm used to where the Lord just feed me, information where I'm, got a steadily stream of videos. Well, topics for videos. And not to digress, I'm just rambling, but at the same time, I notice I tend to do that. But prophesy to the wind, as long as the Lord watching, right? But nonetheless, gave me this article, and it caught my attention because Jacob's trouble. I'm gonna come up with another scripture. It tells you in the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1, it says, difficult times will come. And it says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. I'm going to read it in the NLT. It says, the dangers of the last days. The dangers of the last days, you should know this, Timothy. In the last days, there will be very difficult times. So you go into that word perilous, it's kalipas in the Greek. And it means pretty much, dangerous or fierce, hard to do, hard to bear, which you could look at it like everybody's struggling to survive, to eat, to live, So, it's going to be hard, And we live in that, so like to a degree now, That's why it's just, you got to learn to be, I was at the store the other day, yesterday, and a chick, she had earshots on hearing her conversation, and she was talking about how her sons pretty much are content. So it's hard to kind of like surprise them or like, I believe, I heard that she said they pretty much content with what they got. And, that was deep to me because a lot of people aren't, That's why people keep on seeking the riches and things of this world, which if you have a spiritual eye, the Lord allow you to see for real for what it is, you'll see that this world is coming to pass. The world that you know or knew is no longer in existence. They're trying to bring in some kind of new world, when it's ultimately going to be, the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. But proof with that is, I know the beloved elder Apostle Tahar did a video on it, but the elder brother Amawan Gabar did a video on it as well. When you go on the deck clock and you hit that little button, I forgot what it says, secret window or something, which, that's what, you ever seen that movie with Johnny Depp, the secret window? It's a secret but that only a few know about. And when you hit that button, it talks about the new kingdom, and it shows that X over, you know, and Babylon the Great, aka America. So this is, I mean, I can't say, I'm speaking as a man, but spiritually could feel something. You know what I mean? If you in tune, that's why it's too much stuff going on. Like these devils is moving in preparation. They closing out schools. I remember when it was a eclipse during the school day. I was in high school still. I remember that. I can't remember exact year, but I remember it was in high school because they said the same thing. Can't look at it directly. I think my dumb ass looked at it directly, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? Like, I believe I did. But nonetheless, and they didn't close the school. We was in school for it. So for them to be closing schools and talking about don't worry, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, you put your trust and your faith in the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua before all things. But the Lord puts the spirit on you to do what you're going to do regardless. Saying that to say this, though, brothers, just be mindful. I've been in situations where you go, like we have St. Patrick's of, Irish. So, and, our downtown, I remember one year my dad stayed downtown and the public library is downtown as well. So my dad stayed on 13th Street. The public library is on 6th Street. To get to the library and then get back home took like an hour and a half. And I'm walking. So just be mindful of that. That's what they're saying. It's going to be an influx of millions of people to come see this because the heathen are dismayed. And that's what scripture says. Don't be dismayed at the signs of the heavens. The heathen are dismayed. So, they got the heathen. Brother made a joke about it. He said the heathen talk about going to watch the eclipse, eating sun chips and drinking Gatorade or some shit like that. It made me laugh because, yeah, I can see that. I can picture that. I'm a little bit all over the place, so I'm probably naming some various topics. Nonetheless, um, Lucky. With that being said, you know, scriptures talk about in the last days it's gonna be signs in the heavens and all that. So the eclipse isn't baffling or all inspire all inspiring to us. As the scriptures talk about, it was gonna be signs in the heavens to show you the time that we're living in, and it's gonna be certain. One of the things is those dangerous times. So it says Cleveland's unseen terror, the hunt for multiple serial killers, and that's why I started with that Sirach chapter 39. Spirits created for vengeance because the Lord creates every spirit, and ordains their spirit to do what He created them to do. That's why you got people that just wouldn't be. Mike Tyson wouldn't have been nothing else but a boxer. You could tell his spirit probably has been a warrior spirit for his whole existence. He said pretty much you had to have the will to want to win. But, he said he had a great teacher. He said there was nothing great about him. And that show you how humble he could be. Yeah, you got arrogancy in a lot of individuals. But boxers got to have a certain mindset of pride and arrogancy. Muhammad Ali, I'm the greatest. But it's certain boxers that were humble too, like Sugar Ray Leonard, which was one of my favorite boxers. Because as cool and as humble as he would fuck you up. He was talented. I look at and always enjoyed the old school boxers because a lot of these new school boxers, even Javante said that. Even Tank Davis said that. He said, I could respect and watch the old boxers. He was saying that the newer generation was soft. But nonetheless, saying all that to say this, Mike Tyson was pretty humble because he said pretty much, it take a great teacher to draw that out of you. It's got to be within you. So the Lord had to create that and put that in there and instill that. And then a man draws it out. And, it made me think of the elders when they say, to educate is to draw out. So it's already within you. You had to bring it to remembrance. They draw it out of you. You know, that's deep. But so you got serial killers, and in the last days, perilous times. You know, now you gotta mind you, it didn't make me do a double take, but it make you think about it and wonder. You know, and there's nothing new with Cleveland having a serial killer. You got to remember Anthony Sowell. Like I remember that. You know, that's the only time I remember where bitches was in check. I'm talking about you, all them night walkers and all that shit. That shit was over with. Women went out after a certain time because you had a spirit of death out here. That nigga was, and the thing is, he wasn't really kidnapping, or just like stalking or like what's that dude, the Boston Strangler. He wasn't doing, he was literally like it was people that he was fucking with, and when they would do little shit to him, because it was women that he was amongst that he didn't kill. It seemed like to me that it was always women that did certain shit. Because, got testimony of women that he was around that he didn't touch. But he did touch a lot of women. And that was the Lord using him as a tool of judgment. It tells you in the scriptures that the Most High judge of every day. And, he angry with the wicked and judge of every day, roughly paraphrase. So I'm gonna read a little of this article because this is another thing that you're gonna have to contend with in the last days. Not only trying to survive, but it's gonna be dangerous out here. Not only it's gonna be hard to live, to survive. Not only providing for yourself and your family, but actually, protecting yourself. Brother was just saying that he was like, doing this Uber Eats and DoorDash shit. The way the state of the world is, why do you think and it's funny too, they gonna arm a legal immigrant that you don't even know who the fuck this person is, but you gonna tell a person that got caught up with a felony maybe 15 years ago that they can't be armed to protect themselves. But this is your civil war that they setting up. They bring in all the devil, like, and that's how you know it's the. What country does this open border policy where you pretty much, you don't know who these people is. It's a known fact you had terrorists. They stopped. They said they had suspected terrorists that they caught and released. So Biden's administration is pretty much just openly doing the will of the elites. And they said whenever they say that this place is gonna be a third world country because it's gonna be that poor. And you're going to have all these different nations here. Because pretty much the breadbasket of Babylon. See, Babylon was set up to be, the harbinger of this New World Order. But it was never meant to sustain it. Says, in the shadow of disturbing reality, Salaki, in the shadow of a disturbing reality, Ohio grapples with a grave concern. The presence of serial killers operating within its borders, particularly in Cleveland. Investigators reveal a pattern of unresolved homicides pointing towards horrifying possibility of multiple serial killers at large. Since 2004, Cleveland has recorded 61 unsolved murders, including women with a disturbing trend of strangulations and killings in secluded areas. Now, when was they gonna say why this ain't on the news? Why the fuck this ain't on the news though? Did you tell me 61 motherfuckers got strangled to death, and you ain't saying nothing about none of this? But you can have a whole segment where they up there, they have a 15-minute interlude where Wayne Dawson bitch ass sitting up there talking about how he liked this fashion, and it just. It says this matter has raised serious concerns about the existence of serial killers in the region. That's a spirit because I brought up Sowell. Notorious cases such as Anthony Sowell, the Cleveland Strangler, who killed 11 women and concealed their bodies in his home. He had them bitches in a wall. Exemplified the severity of the threat. Sowell was eventually convicted and sentenced to death in 2009. I don't know if he's dead though. Similarly, Michael Madison was found guilty of killing 3 women. See, I've never even heard of him. And Christopher Whitaker was convicted for the brutal rape and murder of a 14-year-old Alanina DeFreeze. However, these convictions do not close the chapter on Cleveland's plight with serial homicides. Compounding the problem is the enigma of unidentified assailants, leaving families and communities in a state of perpetual fear and uncertainty. The story of Merlin Malone Jr., whose mother was strangled to death, illustrates the agony of those left behind, haunted by unanswered questions and the grim possibility that the killer remains at large. Says Tom Hargrove, a homicide archivist with the Murder Accountability Project, has applied his expertise to the Cleveland cases. Yada, yada, yada. As the hunt for exclusive killers continues, the community affected by these tragedies remain vigilant, hopes for justice and resolution. The ongoing investigations in Ohio, particularly Cleveland, serve as a stark reminder of the persistent threat posed by serial killers and the importance of relentless pursuit by law enforcement agencies. And the funny part is when you take time to actually use common sense, because common sense beat book smarts, how the fuck is they gonna really be pursuing if they're shutting down and slowing down the hiring of police? Police is not bringing in more police officers. They actually doing budget cuts and shit to have less police officers. So how the fuck, what I mean? So at the end of the day, scriptures talk about, dangerous times and, perilous times. Because just like the times of old, that's how at the beginning, it was a lot of violence on the earth. And at the end, it's going to be a lot of violence. And that's one of the telltale signs of what the Lord going to have going before he come judge the earth. That was going on before the flood. I'm going to bring that out to prove it. This is the book of Genesis chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 5. Point is, I think, 11. And it reads, "And the Most High saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." So when you go into, look at what's going on today. Look at the mindset of the people. People don't believe in the Most High God, and look at all the wickedness they do. These people commit abominable acts every day and don't repent, don't feel sorry about it. You got individuals sitting up here telling people that there ain't no more Most High God. You know what I mean? Yet still, they worried about what the fuck about to happen on this April 8th shit with this eclipse. Man can't do that. Man can't even visit the bottom of the ocean. But yet still you have people that are trusting man, especially this red man, because he's not white. This devil Esau Edom, who you call ignorantly the white man. You're trusting him, but the scriptures tell you, cursed be the man that trusteth in man. Verse 6, "And it repenteth the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart." Verse 7, "And the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them." Verse 8, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord," and Noah will be considered the elect of his day, because the Lord always saves a remnant. When you look at different captivities and, the destruction that he brought on, the 12 tribes, he always saved a remnant. Look at Jeremiah. Jeremiah's situation, when Nebuchadnezzar came into the land, he took the royalty and took, a lot of the people, but he left people too. Jeremiah got caught up in it, but then the Lord had mercy on him and released him. Jeremiah's faith had to be cold. You know what I mean? Like when you take time to really think about it. Jeremiah had a very difficult ministry as well. I was talking to a brother yesterday. He was going into, being built up and how the Lord be dealing. He was going into how for the 4 years, because pretty much, not to go into detail, but, our camp was blessed when we got a new head, that it grew, and it was another camp that was teaching a different doctrine that recognized through the Spirit that we had the truth, or the truth was with GMS, and joined on to us. So now we all GMS. But long story short, he was going into, testimony about how when they was out on the highways and hedges, about some of the things that they were dealing with. And he was talking about like how when spirits used to come up to the camp and they'd be trying to fight you or spit on the signs or all kind of, different, just you talking about spirits, the spirits would get riled up. And he was saying how, you got certain brothers that's just coming in that didn't have to go through that, you know. And he was just talking about how those spirits were riled up, but the closer we get to the end, they're going to rouse back up. And that's the spirit, because I was listening to I didn't listen to the video, but a brother, Amawan Gabar, the elder brother, he just made a video saying these spirits pretty much are getting active or whatnot. And you can see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of violence going on the planet. People on edge, people frustrated. And that's the climate that the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahshua wants when he brings the destruction. You know what I mean? Like, the scriptures talk about neighbor shall not trust neighbor, and, you know, a man's enemies and foes will be of his own household. Do you understand how bad it's going to have to be for you not to trust your family? It says, and the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repent of me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with the Most High. Now, you know, we all fall short, you know, but he was perfect in the eyes of the Lord, you know. Meaning his heart, his mind, you know. You know, look at David. I remember, you know, when I was in the workhouse, you would meet. That's one thing I liked about the workhouse. It made it tolerable because although the doctrine was off, you know, they allowed, you know, the scriptures in there. They allowed you to get out of that pod to go hear the word. You know what I mean? And even like I said again, I mean, I still to this day got a book. It was a commentary book, and it's a MacArthur book. And the individual that gave it to me, his name was Abraham. You know, my name Yahweh Stop. So I found it funny, you know. And he knew he was a Jake. You know, he didn't have the correct doctrine because he was talking about pretty much Esau is Japhet, you know. And I wasn't really like, I didn't understand. I ain't gonna say understand. I didn't know the doctrine, you know, all like that. So, and you know, it was just multitude of things, you know. But he gave me that commentary book, and it's a lot of information in that book. They go into the paganism of ancient society, and you know, them commentaries be deep, you know, to a degree. You gotta really sift through them, but you know, it says, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with the Most High. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all the flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. You know, because, you know, how they move and the philosophies, the mindset, you know, do as thou wilt. You know, that pervert. The scriptures say, don't do certain things, but this place tells you do what makes you feel good. And they ultimately, the ultimate corruption is when that C-hip is implanted, when it's took, you know, when it's put in society. When, you know, you gotta take this or else. Then what you gonna really stand on? You got a lot of people say they love the Lord, but then I've heard people say, oh, well, I ain't did this, I ain't did that. The Lord can't be coming back right now. Well, how the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why Yahweh Shah, who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ, pretty much rebuked Peter. You know what I'm saying? Peter said up there, said, oh, no. He said, the Son of Man must pretty much pay for the, you know, be crucified for the sins of, you know, and he's like, not you, Lord. And he rebuked him. He said, get behind me, Satan. Because you said never trying to do your will, and it ain't about your will, it's the will of the Lord. Verse 13, and Noah, Slaki, and the Most High said unto Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So, just like in the days of Noah, it was much violence on the planet. Well, in the last days, there's going to be much violence on the planet. And that shows you that with 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. You know, so, you know, that's one of the things that's going to be going on the planet. Much violence, scarcity of resources, you know, Because again, the government is not about to be able to sustain taking care of everybody. Now, don't get me wrong, the elites, it's ultimately the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's all I'm saying. Like a lot of brothers was under the mindset, income taxes will come out this year. And I'm like, it could be either or, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you got to understand these devils is trying to do a particular, like, until everything is in place and everything lined up like this eclipse, until everything is lined up, pretty much. And it's spiritual too, because when you take time to think about it, it's going to make an X, like X mark the spot. You know what I mean? Like, that's spiritual first and foremost, but it's also physical. Like they said years ago, it went one way, and now it's coming back another way, which is gonna stop and make an X, like the bullseye. You know what I mean? Spiritually, because the Lord about to proclaim judgment on this wicked ass place known as Babylon the Great. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 8, and the point is verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And part of the miseries is going to be, this, astronomical. It's going to be much, much violence out here. Like I said again, just imagine what a nigga had, and you got haves and have-not. Well, motherfucker, I've been watching this guy named John Williams. He's an economist, and he was saying, people pretty much when they, like they done brought these illegals over here, or they considered illegals at one moment, and now they migrants. You know what I mean? It's funny how, and then the scary part about it is you got people that really can't see this. Like you will see a nigga trying to do this, or you will see, or you won't trust this and that, but you trust this shit. They can barely afford to give you any extra help, but they got money to give people that have never been here before. Just pop up it. Now you give a fuck about humanitarianism. They don't have enough aid for everybody, and eventually that aid gonna run out. I mean, come on, shit. They said they was just about to shut the government down. Y'all wasn't paying attention to that. So eventually they gonna stop funding this shit. And when they do, that's when all hell gonna break loose. The time of Jacob's trouble. And the phone even had to chime in on that. So yeah, in the last days, perilous times shall truly come. But all these things were prophesied and forewarned. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 32 and verse 6. For this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found. So those that, the godly will be looked at as like the elect. Because the elect is the only ones that's, scriptures talk about Yahweh Shah saying, when I come back to the earth, will I find, roughly paraphrase, will I find faith? And the thing's going to get so bad on the planet that the only ones that's going to truly believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushua is the elect. That's going to hold on to the faith. You know what I mean? Like, that's the truth of the matter. And like I said, and you have no idea of what these devils are capable of. Look at some of the technology. They got fucking flying cars and flying jetpacks and shit. This devil really thinking he could fight. Do you understand the amount of pride this man has? He's saying he could fight the Most High God, but can't even reach the bottom of the ocean. So you really got to take the time to think about it. Like the technology that you possess that we all amazed at ain't really shit. It says, for this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great waters, they shall not come nigh unto him. It talks about that in the book of Psalms 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, which is this truth. What scripture say? It said, perfect love casteth out fear. Roughly paraphrased. No, when you truly love something, that's just like a mother truly loving her children. A mother will get, you know what I mean, like situations where mothers died over their kids. But I see a generation of bitches that literally, I mean, I just did a video about it the other day. A bitch left her child to go on a cruise. I mean, I'm not laughing at the death of the child. You know what I mean? I got children, but at the same time, that's the spirit. Like, and then the bitch probably all sad, feel sorry for me, and that's a woman for you. Feel sorry for me, bitch. You just took a lot. I mean, it's, you know, and that's the will of the Lord. Like the Lord set her to, and I think about that. I think they gave her life in prison. And like, so all you gonna do is sit and think about you allowed your daughter to die, and showing you, and then a bitch will get mad when you say a bitch ain't got no common sense. She don't. A woman's supposed to deal with a man, her dad, and then she's. Why do you think your dad give you to a man? That's the tradition for a reason. It's only two men you're supposed to know, your dad and your husband. They created a society where these hoes is hoes. They think they fucking men, they tough as fuck. But it's going to come a time when you're going to have to show and prove all that. You know, you had a lot of bitches sitting up there, we are Marines and shit. Then when they sit up there and say, yeah, we going over here to fight, now they want trying to get about the fucking service. Well, guess what? You can go fight for me. I'm a felon. And I wish they would try to make me go. You could suck a dick from the left-hand side. How about that? And I ain't trying to be funny. I ain't trying to be, of course I ain't going to do no, But what I'm saying is, like, that's my mindset to y'all. Like, y'all can go, jump off a fucking bridge and fall on the dick. You know what I mean? Like seriously, like these people was fucking nuts. Because it's going to come a time where they're going to need bodies to fill positions. They're going to need bodies to hold these guns. Just like when there was times when they was putting niggas back in the street. It'll be a drought. You can't find nothing. No kind of drugs or nothing. Then out the blue. Like, I remember that during the Obama, term. The first term, no drugs. You couldn't get no drugs. Prices was high as fuck. This second term, it was a floodgate of drugs. I'm like, what the fuck? The nigga in charge. You know what I mean? I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah. I'll never forget that. I mean, shit, you gotta think about it. Like, that was around the time when the heroin epidemic, just being honest, like the elder said, Obama ain't no motherfucking Jake. That's a smooth ass motherfucking Hamite. That nigga don't give a fuck about Jake. Even a wicked ass Jake could sit up there and give some kind of sympathy for his people. Obama don't give a fuck about y'all. Just like a Hamite. I've met real Hamites. They do not give a fuck about Jake. Salaki for all the digression. It says, for this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in the time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great waters they shall not come nigh unto thee. Say, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide in the shadow of the Almighty. He's my shield and my buckler, my Lord, and him will I trust. Surely he will deliver me from the snares of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. And that's the mindset of the elect. Because we going to need the Lord. Because the same power that's going to be bringing, this destruction is the same power, the only power that could deliver from it. Verse 32, chapter 32 and verse 7, Psalms 32 and 7. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Because, Yahweh Shem Yahushua has always delivered his elect, his children. He's always been the protector of Yasharallah, who you call Israel. And even more so in the days to come, because like I said again, when you really sit up here and understand what's about to happen, the picture that they paint and what they about to have going, you about to sit, I always knew the devil was the devil, but to see what this man, this diabolical, this motherfucker that brought some belief, it did say, oh yeah, they got, take the time to think about the logic of this. They said that a nigga that just, you don't know who the fuck this is because you can't get no paperwork because you don't know who they is. But they got a right to own a gun. While they sitting up there in certain states, they talking about It's whole crime cartels going on. Like that movie, The Purge, is about to play out in real life, and motherfuckers doing not like really see it. And that's the spirit that I was reading out that article about the serial killer. You know, the brother Amawam Gabar was just going into that talk about how you had I think they Venezuelan cartels coming up here. And you got to understand the mindset of these people that's from areas like that, that's never had you think niggas is, you think niggas is gun ho and about it and just ready. Like they like in Mexico and certain places like them, like they gonna get up and close and personal, like with a machete. Like they I'm talking about they spend an hour just cutting you up type shit. And not flinching or not gagging or none of that shit, just playing in your skin type shit. These motherfuckers is not ready. And that's the great miseries that's coming upon this place. Scriptures say it's time for the Most High to work because they have made void thy law. So if you got spiritual eyes, you can see all the different dynamics or a lot of the different dynamics that's all being set up to play out. I'm going to end with this. This is the book of Jeremiah. Chapter 30. The point is verse 7, and it reads, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. So out of all the times in history when Jacob was in trouble, because, Jacob is basically, the father of the 12 tribes. So that's going, the Israelites, because each tribe is still considered the Israelites. Out of all the times in history where the Israelites went through, trouble, it's going to be nothing like what's about to come. It says, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it, is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he, and who is the he? The he is his elect, but he shall be saved out of it. So the Lord has always had his elect preserved and protected, and even more so in that day. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power. True name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, where you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to Ka'Elohim, like Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem. I say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone. Teach and do rule well. I say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth, with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwatha to the listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. So next time I'm able to come with another lesson, say shalom, shalom, and Kwam Yasharallah, shalom.